Welcome to r/Entitled People, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. And today we have 4 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story, the rude customer who got what they deserved, and how I won anyway. The second story, entitled customer demands an empty table, gets shut down in the best way. The third story, entitled guest tries to get me fired, but I don't know who I am. The fourth story, from office gossip to sweet revenge, how I outlasted the mean girls. The first story is, you're a joke to this company. So the incident took place around this time last year. I work in a typical restaurant and bar as a bartender, and the new year had just come up. Since the holidays had passed, typically no one drinks or spends money, and to encourage people to come to our venue, there are offers on during the whole of January. Usually it's 2 for 1 on selected food and drink. I was in a particularly good mood that day and I wasn't going to have anyone ruin that, so that'll soon change. At the bar, this couple had been sat there for quite some time, and I had built up rapport with them, being friendly and just chatting to them. The tables in the bar area had glasses all over, and they had to be reset. So I set about in collecting, cleaning, and resetting the tables. Someone earlier had to ask to have a look at the food menu which was left on a table, a mistake in the bar area. To let you know, the building is divided into a restaurant area for people, food, and are getting table service, and a bar area for drinks. The menus, regrettably left until last to collect from the table, were left there, and this is where the fun began. A family of 4 came in, 2 kids and 2 elderly/middle-aged people. There are signs everywhere saying this way to the restaurant, and please see the host, but this family sat down at that table anyway. Anticipating that they wanted to order food from the bar, I had a look at our screen to show how many covers there were at that point in time in the restaurant, gauged that there was a 30-minute wait on food and tables, and asked our manager on duty how long the wait times were. After considering all this, we both agreed that we wouldn't be able to accommodate for those people at this point in time. So I came back onto the bar and he also came up to order. I was ready to handle the situation. The following conversation roughly went like this. Things to note. There were also 2 other groups of 2 and 4 waiting to be sat down, and also service was slower for food because it was 2 for 1, and I was also informed that there was emergency maintenance in the kitchen. The couple I mentioned earlier that was sat at the bar witnessed this. Me. Hello, what would you like? Customer C. Can I order food for that table over there? Me. Sorry, I won't be able to take the food order at the bar, but I can sit you down within the restaurant for full table service. Customer. We're just sat over there. I just want to order food. Me. Unfortunately, I can't. There's a wait for food at the moment and I can't take the food order at the bar. I can let the manager know that you'd like to eat, but only at the restaurant. Customer getting agitated. I've been to other places like this, and I've been able to order food at the bar. Why can't I order now? Me. Giving him every reason that I can't. We can only provide food for people sat in the restaurant, as there is a wait and there's maintenance going on. Customer. I want to see your manager. So it then proceeds with my manager telling him the exact same thing as I told him. On top of that, he insulted her by calling her and referring to me as a joke to the company. He also insulted her and the waitstaff, saying, "Why can't you serve us here instead? Is it because your little legs can't walk that far?" He demands for my manager's name and threatened that he'd write a review. Meanwhile, recovering from that encounter, I decided to keep up that good mood by treating the couple at the bar, who saw everything, with free drinks and a masterclass. They appreciated the hospitality. The next day comes and behold, the complaint comes through. On top of expressing that me and my manager were a joke to the company, he pretty much lied to exaggerate everything that was said to him. He even went as far as to say that they weren't allowed to order food in the bar area, and that magically there were plates on the table next to them. Place was spotless after I cleaned up. Threatened to never come back. They're a small drop in a big pond. Funnily enough, right before that complaint was sent, the couple at the bar sent a nice message to our Facebook page. It read, "Hi, my partner and I had drinks at your bar last night. We just wanted to let you know how superb your barman was last night. He had one horribly rude customer which he dealt with brilliantly, and managed to keep smiling for the rest of the customers and provide excellent service. Thanks." Ironically, one of those customers referred to in that text was a group of 4, who asked the manager nicely if they can have food at some point, and politely waited until the table was ready for them. On top of that, with the interactions I had with that group earlier, they said to the waitress, who passed on to me, that I was the best bartender they've come across in the city. I think you call that karma. The second story is, that table's free. I can see it, it's empty. About a year back, I worked in a family restaurant. It was a Saturday night and we were pretty busy. with all tables reserved, but it was all under control. I was hosting, and we had a family of 8 due in for a birthday. As I was making my way back to my station, a group of 8 people walked in. For the purpose of this story, the big idiot will be referred to as BI, and I shall be me. The exchange went as follows. BI, table for 8. Me, no problem, sir, do you have a reservation? BI, no, I don't think so. Me, okay, well, I'm very sorry, but we're fully booked for tonight, but I can take a reservation for another night if you wish. BI, no, if I wanted to eat here another night, I would have come here another night. My back got right up. Me, I understand, sir, I do apologize. I'm afraid all of our tables are reserved for tonight, but you're more than welcome to take a seat at the bar if you like, while you choose if you'd like to go somewhere else. BI, what about that table over there? Pointing to the birthday table. That's got 8 seats, we'll just sit there. Me, sorry, that table's reserved for another family. They're due here any minute. If you wait at the bar, we have a 30-minute policy, so if the family doesn't turn up, you can take their table. BI, well, none of these empty tables have reserve signs on them, so how are we meant to know? Can you not push those 2 together for us? Pointing to 2 tables that weren't even in the same area. Big idiot then spots my manager walking past and grabs her arm to speak to her. BI, excuse me, there's a table over there that we would like to sit at, but this girl here won't let us sit there. We traveled half an hour to get here and I'm not happy. They don't have any signs on to say they're reserved, so I don't understand. My manager, without missing a single beat, says, I'm sorry about that, sir. Please wait a second while I sort this out. I won't be long. Big idiot is looking pretty pleased with himself at this point, puffs out his chest and gives me the smuggest look he's probably given anyone, until he spots my manager walking out, with the little reserve signs in her hand. Our restaurant used to be self-seating. She walks over to my station, checks the diary, and walks over to each empty table, and places a sign on each one, and walks back over to the station. Manager, I'm sorry our system confused you, sir. I've now rectified that. I see we have a free table tomorrow evening, at the same time if you'd like to come back then. Big idiot turned the most putrid shade of puss you've ever seen in your life, and stated he'll sit at the bar and wait to see if the table cancels, and as they're walking, the birthday table of 8 walks in. Big idiot huffs, and beckons his family to leave, at which point my manager calls over, if you'd like that table for tomorrow, please give us a call. Have a nice evening. Oh, sweet, sweet karma. The third story is, No, you don't know who you're talking to. Entitled guest tries to get me fired. My husband was the GM of a home-style resort in Vegas, rooms with living rooms and full kitchens. As such, he frequently had people who would have extended stays, a week or more. It was not your typical extended stay hotel. It was very upscale. At one point, his night auditor had a minor health scare, and my husband asked me if I didn't mind filling in 2 nights a week to give the auditor some time to take care of himself. Well, his minor health scare turned into a major health scare, and I ended up working 7 nights a week for nearly 3 months while he recovered. That was a nightmare in itself, but I adored Walt the auditor, and by me filling in, it ensured he would have a job to come back to. We had one guest who had booked for 5 nights, and then extended an additional 2 more nights. She came to check out early morning, when I was still the only one at the desk. She was irate about the amount she was being charged for her room. She kept insisting that she was given a special rate, and her special rate is all that she should be charged. I don't remember the actual total, but to keep it simple, it was something like this. She was paying $500 for a 5-night stay. She extended her 2 extra nights, and instead of charging her rack rate, we extended her at the lower rate. Her 7-night stay meant she owed $700. She was adamant that her special rate was $500, and that was all she should pay no matter how many nights she actually stayed. She simply could not grasp the math, that if you stayed extra nights, you do in fact owe for those nights. I was trying to explain it to her as best I could despite my internal monologue of, this overly made-up bimbo is a twit, when she sticks her finger in my face and tells me, you don't understand. I know your general manager, and I'm going to tell him how you're treating me and trying to scam me of money. I'm going to have your job for this. You don't know who you're talking to. I smiled as sweetly as I could at her and told her, well, ma'am, when I go home and crawl into bed next to him, I'll be sure to relay that message to him. Have a fantastic day. Edit. Insane lady sputtered and left, without signing the credit card receipt. When I told my husband, he laughed and knew exactly who the woman was. She was a dancer from someplace in the Midwest, who would come out and dance for a week or 2, make bank, because Vegas, duh, then go back home again for a while. Apparently, she had been harassing the day staff all week long with stupid requests. This has gone down in our family history as the stupid dancer story. The fourth story is, Office mean girls tried to take me down, but I had the last laugh. So I work for a marketing agency. I've worked there since 1996. I'm 54, and worked my way from answering phones, admin assistant duties, etc., to being the operations director for 30 employees in 5 years. In 2007, we hired a young woman as a copywriter. She was fresh out of college and super confident, and became a good friend to me. She even babysat my son a couple of times. Well, we needed an assistant coordinator, and she recommended her friend, who was working as a bartender at that time. She did have a bachelor's from a crap college. I can just say it's in Nevada, in journalism, that she made sure everyone knew about. She and I quickly became friends. She was very friendly, but my gut instinct felt something was off. She was too nice. I can't explain it, but I never trusted her. Anyways, she worked for us for about a year, and about 9 months into her employment, she befriended 2 other girls, and they had a little group of 4 that did everything together. The copywriter friend stopped speaking to me, and another girl that I was friends with did the same thing. They would just do things and make sure I knew I wasn't invited. I could tell so many stories of their antics, but this post is already too long. It bothered me, but I thought I was just being paranoid. Plus, I didn't give a crap. I have plenty of friends in and outside of work. One day, one of the girls needed me to fix her Verizon wireless card, so she could use her laptop anywhere. This was 2008, remember? And because my name was on the account, I had to sit at her desk and go step by step with a Verizon operator. One of the steps was to restart the laptop. Once it loaded, her Skype automatically opens and her last conversation appeared between her and the leader of the Mean Girls Club. I saw my boyfriend's name immediately. He has an unusual name in their chat, and I couldn't help but read it. She was going off about me and detailing what I had done that entire day. I worked from home until 10 a.m. that morning, helping my boss transfer the ownership of the company. Highly confidential, but she said I had rolled in at 10 and that I do nothing all day, and kept referring to me as Oprah. Apparently that was her code name for me. She was basically saying things like, "Oh, now Oprah's upstairs BSing with Gene. She just Skype called Anders. She's now going to lunch with Blam." I was livid. It was like all the blood pooled into my head, and I had to step outside to cool down. I immediately emailed my boss the whole story, and he was furious. He emailed our 2 VPs, and me, announcing he was firing 3 of the girls tomorrow morning. The one who had the laptop and Verizon card issue was kept on, because she apologized to me crying, saying this girl bullied her into joining in on this activity. Plus, she was too valuable to let go, and I agreed. Well, the next morning I arrived at 8 a.m. and prepared all the exit paperwork and final checks to the 3 girls. And after their firing meetings, each of them had to come to my office and sign the agreement, and get their final check from me. Oh, her cried-out face signing that document was the sweetest revenge I've ever experienced. She wrote me a long email apology with the subject line, "Mean Girls in the Office," that was loaded with backhand compliments. I never replied. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to know when the new video comes out, and hit the like button to support the channel. Have a good day.